The Disney financial situation is worse than we ever knew. And it comes to us via a Politico article. Yes, I know they were previously funded by the U.S. government, perhaps no more, but they're declaring that the U.S. economy is nowhere near what it was supposed to be under the Biden administration. The statistics for inflation, as well as other stats around the nation, now pointing to a reality in which Disney and its stock was an absolute flop over the past 3 years. We'll show it to you, and we'll bring you the depressing data when it comes to Disney. Hang on, here we go. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of every age, of every background. Welcome to the big tent where truth is told. Folks, it never gets old asking you to click the like button. We know you'll come through for us. And we're going to dive into now the realization from the legacy media that they have to tell the truth regarding the economy and what it means not only for Disney, but also for Netflix, and why people are now checking out of an economy and of corporations which leave them with major doubts for how they will perform in a future not so bright. Turns out the economy was not what we were told by the government, and so they're trying to adjust that. Those jobless numbers, dubious now. Inflation numbers, think again. And so they're rushing because now we're going to find out what the real numbers were. And the real numbers, the problem with having had what are potentially fake numbers coming out of the government for the past 4 years, and boy, that's a scandal. I mean, it's scandal after scandal, isn't it? But now the problem is that if and when we get the real numbers, it kind of means that many of the major financial decisions that were made from the institutions and the big corporations, well, they were based on bad data. And this has something to do with Disney. We'll show it to you in just a moment. Take a look at this out of Politico. It says, voters were right about the economy. The data was wrong. And we should say this is out of the formerly U.S. government-funded Politico, funded by USAID, no more. It says, here's why unemployment is higher all of a sudden, wages are lower all of a sudden, and growth less robust all of a sudden than government statistics suggest. Oh, wait a minute. You mean we've been lied to the entire time from our government about the state of the economy? Ruh-roh. It's by Eugene Ludwig. It says, before the presidential election, many Democrats were puzzled by the seeming disconnect between economic reality as reflected in various government statistics and the public's perceptions of the economy on the ground. Many in Washington bristled at the public's failure to register how strong the economy really was. They charged that right-wing echo chambers were conning voters into believing entirely preposterous narratives about America's decline. What they rarely considered was whether something else might be responsible for the disconnect. Them. No, I inserted that. That's really what they're going to say, just in a different way. Whether, for instance, government statistics were fundamentally flawed. Wonder who flawed them? Who was it? Who is this masked flawster out there? What if the numbers supporting the case for a broad-based prosperity were themselves misrepresentations? What if, in fact, darker assessments of the economy were more authentically tethered to reality? Now, why are they doing this? Well, they're doing it because they don't have a choice, because the real numbers are going to come out real soon, and it's going to be a fiasco, and it's going to point right back at Biden and all of them. We'll stay out of the politics of it. We want to talk about Disney and other entertainment entities with this. Here's what we've got, though. I want to go back to Market Watch. This is from March 4th at 2024. And these were the people out there who were getting poo-pooed for daring to say what everyone else knew. True inflation may have peaked in late 2022. Folks, I want you to hang on to that date. It's going to matter. It's really going to matter. At 18%. And still, in 2024, hovered at 8%. Now, our actuaries and accountants out there, you pay close attention and figure out for us if in 2022 inflation was at 18%, and if in 2023, let's find the middle, okay? So let's say that it was at 12% or 13%, and if in 2024 it was at 8%, true inflation, not the 4%, by the way, or less, that we were being told officially by the Biden administration, figure out what you think if you just wanted to have the same transactional power, how much did your savings, how much did your revenues and sales, how much did those have to increase over the past 3 years to stay pat with the devaluation of the dollar? Okay, now I know I'm getting in the weeds just a little bit, but hang with me. I'm going to show you why. Right? 3, 2, 1 now. Here's the Disney stock. Everybody pay close attention to this. Remember when it said that inflation in 2022 was sitting somewhere around 18% and that it's dropped to 8% in 2024? Remember that? Remember how we were told by the Biden administration that inflation was down around 4%? Dandy it was. Got it knocked out. That Inflation Reduction Act really did the trick. Turns out we were all being tricked. Look at this. The Disney stock since March 12th of 2021, when Bob Chapek was in control, it has dropped from 197.16 down now to 108.97. In fact, we'll refresh it so it looks correct. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, 5 year. There we go. Okay. 109.48 as of recording. So 109.48. And remember the high we talked about? 197.16. By the way, on the same day it was at 197.16, it topped 200 that day. No financial advice being given, folks, but let me tell you this. If they had simply stayed at the level they were, if they had just simply stayed where they were back here, okay, and we'll go to a middle day. Let's go to middle day. Let's say that at 184, they had simply risen at the level of inflation. Like every dollar they had, they just kept it at that level, and they went in value along with inflation. They should be something like at least 25% higher, right? I mean, I think that's the way I look at this.
Yeah.
Somewhere around 25% higher. So guess what? All of the market pressures pushed Disney to rise by 25%. Disney managed not only to not go up with the entirety of the rest of the economy as the dollars were debased by the Biden administration, but also they managed to lose from their high of 197 down to 109 today. It is almost a 50% reduction at the same time that they should have risen as a baseline by 25. The reason that finding out the economy was far worse is so important is because now we know that it wasn't a 4% inflation rate happening year after year, but rather it was a massive push. These companies, just by virtue of staying the same, should have gone up. Somehow Disney defied economic physics themselves and dropped. It is a horrible situation for Disney. And if you're wondering why they're making the changes they are now, this, I believe, is why. No financial advice being given. Panel, what say you about the revelations?
I don't think that they know how to run this company very well. I'm getting that idea.
I don't know.
What was your first
geniuses, Jonas?
What was your first clue?
This is a company, and this explains the why they chase headlines thing, that over and over again they're just looking for something big. Oh, it's the biggest movie in America. Well, is it the biggest movie in America, or is it actually it's the biggest movie in America that premiered on a Thursday with a box office that is starring a black guy with an A for the first letter of his first name? They get so specific so that they can have these headlines so that when they go to Wall Street, they can say, here, don't look too closely, but this is how it looks like we're doing a good job.
Jonas, would you like to see what it looks like when someone does a good job? And then we'll get Lou in. Let me show you this. Ready, everybody? You think, you all out there, I know what you think. You think we're just mean. We're just meanies to Disney. Pick on them every day. You know, listen, folks, how would you like to have to cover this sad sack of a company every day? Take a look at this. Netflix, last 5 years. You want to see what the difference is?
Yeah.
This is why we don't hammer Netflix every day. Because the reality is not there to hammer them. Over the past 5 years, Netflix is up 172.44%. That's why. It's not because we're a bunch of angry, disgruntled, curmudgeony meanies. It's because this chart doesn't look like that chart. This chart goes up, that chart goes down, and we're finding out that, by the way, if you were not exceeding a 25% increase, apparently, then you weren't keeping up with inflation. Lou, take it.
Well, I was going to say, remember that Disney is the representative of the entire entertainment industry on the Dow 30, right? And let's remember the great industrial companies of this nation: Ford, Chrysler, Westinghouse, General Electric, Standard Oil. If they even had popcorn buckets, do you think they'd make headlines out of them? Do you think they'd dare? You talk about desperate for headlines. This company, they have to sell total trivia because they have nothing else. And at the same time, that inflation, why do you suppose it took them a lot more money to make broken lights in the line at Tron? Why do you suppose it took them all that extra money to make frozen face Tianas? By the way, did you see they've put off the opening of the Walt animatronic for 2 months because I guess they couldn't afford the chance that he'd stand there staring with a blank look like Tiana?
Yep.
So, yeah, they're bad managers. They're terrible managers. But, hey, we wouldn't want to have the peeps angry and saying they'd been betrayed by Big Bob, would we?
It's fascinating. The thing is, too, if you've been listening to bloggers, vloggers, channels, and more that have been telling you that everything's dandy and fine at Disney, you need to check where you're going for your content, because it simply cannot match the chart you're looking at. It can't. You can't drop half your value and everything's just sunshine, roses, and special event cupcakes covered with pixie dust. It doesn't work that way.
And what's really sad is that some of what used to be very reliable, very reputable financial people have caved to this. And when you were talking earlier, I think it was you, Blaine, about the critics realizing they have to have their own credibility at stake when they keep pushing this crap. Yeah. Well, that's what I keep saying about these major investment places. Sooner or later, they got to say it's us or them and dump this guy and dump this company. They just have to, because their own credibility is on the line.
Yep, they've pretty much just been huffing their own farts for like however many years at this point. Where they
that's a highly technical financial term, is that right?
That's the one I lean to. But it's like you can only.
Wasn't there a website, the Huffing Fart Post?
Right.
We call it cheese tinged flatulence here, based on the Mickey thing.
There you go.
Go ahead, Blaine.
I like that. No, yeah. I mean, it is. It's just like this constant, these fake articles and whatever. It makes you wonder. It's like, did half the people in this company just keep reading all of these fake articles about the business that they run while they're watching it fail and just be like, well, the news is reporting. It looks good. So clearly what I'm seeing on paper here just can't be true. It's wild.
It is wild indeed. All right, panel, anything left on this topic before we move on?
Well, I think this company's been run really well. I mean, over the last 5 years, we had the CEO dip out right when the ink was drying on a $70 billion deal, and then
Bash.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm getting a producer's note. Your monitor is upside down, sir. You need to flip it.
I see. Yeah, you know what? Exactly. Yeah. Okay. All right. Now that paints a much clearer picture right there. No, I mean the way this company has been handled has been truly absolutely awful. They went big into streaming, right? They did the whole $100 billion push into streaming. At the same time, they were basically destroying their own content, destroying their own franchises to the point where nobody actually wanted to see the very expensive content being produced on that platform. Okay, fine. But remember where they got that money from, largely in order to make these investments, in order to keep the company afloat. The parks. Well, don't worry, because we just invested that right back into that enterprise, didn't we? Oh, wait, we didn't, and now that's falling too. I mean, there really is no optimism here for this company, at least in the short term that I can see. And even in the long term, I don't really know how to pivot this company in a way to make their long-term prospects look any rosier than their short-term prospects. It's just, it's confounding. And yeah, I do think the economy and that economic outlook may be presented in certain ways by the previous administration. Didn't they revise the jobs numbers, dozen times or something like that? Anyway.
Yeah, but not after but they didn't revise them. They got those headlines and then they fixed them. Classic Disney, by the way.
There you go.
Disney.
That's right.
Absolutely, yeah. First and foremost, make sure to visit criticalist.com, or you can go to your Android or Apple app stores and download the app. But we are the future of entertainment, reviewing, discussion. We are a tool in your toolbox that you can lean on. If you're somebody that doesn't want to leave a bunch of reviews yet, if you're just wanting to see what real people think, just download the app for that. When you're going to watch something, just check Criticalist first. Don't go to Rotten Tomatoes. Don't go to these other places. Go to Criticalist, and we've got it listed with our database where things are streaming, who's in the films. All of that is here on Criticalist, but also there's a fun social experience where you can make friends and communities. We've got lists that you can make and groups that you can join, all sorts of things. So definitely visit the website, find us in the app stores, and just show us some support. This is a self-funded thing, and so we're really putting a lot on the line because the culture needs this, and we need a platform like this that can unite everybody and start to drive culture in a positive direction, and that's what we want to do. So make sure to show us a little bit of love and check out the platform for sure.
And folks, let the credits roll for this one. Well, it is in the bank. We are done here. We're over and out. But before we go, there's one thing we must shout to you, and we do it in the kindest way possible. Folks, it would be such a pleasure if you could consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, and that notification bell. Click it, stick it to the algorithms. You bet. Don't forget also, as you get ready to leave, drop a comment down below if you have not yet, for we would love to know what's on your mind. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, so waste not yours. Join a community dialogue. Folks, as we get ready to leave, we say to you, and we mean it, keep learning, keep growing, and no matter what the world might do or what your station might be, up or down, you keep having fun.
Jump into the water.
Why listen to music made by people and companies who really don't like you? Check out Vacation Radio today and prepare for all new content made by the people behind the WDW Pro channel. It's the place you need for all the music. That should be fun.
Want it all, so I give them cannonball. Yeah!
Hundreds of songs, every genre you can imagine. Listen live on YouTube and enjoy a set list that's always sunny. It's Vacation Radio. What are you waiting for? Every WDW Pro video has a link to Vacation Radio in the video description. Try it out and subscribe today.